have Findlay Market, which is huge. I mean, it's wonderful there, but it's a lot of different people on the inside of the market, not the produce on the outside. They're sharing space. So you have your meat counter, a cheese guy, and some seafood guy. I mean, it's like any larger market in any larger city, and I wonder if you've approached any business owners in that realm to say, would you share this space that we have created?
And are you open to a multi-level structure?
No.
You're not open to that idea at all?
No. We don't think that's viable. We don't think it makes
Well,
sense
it's
to
the
go.
square footage. You know, if 6,500 square feet or 8,000 square feet isn't economically viable for Freshway, then you gotta think, well, we gotta, increase the square footage, and the only way you can go is either up or down.
If you want to build a basement, you want to build a second story, a third story, construction costs go up dramatically.
Yeah.
Mark, maybe you can back me up on this one. You're an architect.
The larger the building is, the more cost effective it is.
Basically.
Not
Yeah,
necessarily when you're building up.
When
you're building vertical. If you wanted to build 6,400 square feet on 2 levels and 3,200 square feet chunks, it would be more expensive to do that than it would be to build it in one 6,400 square foot level. Yeah, but that's the point that I'm trying to make.
What I'm saying, if you're going 10,000 square feet or 20,000 square feet, and you go off another level, per square foot cost is lower.
You said you had two people that were interested. Was square footage ever a concern in those discussions?
In one of them, we were in the process of talking about a larger footprint. Yeah. But it hasn't always been the limiting factor.
But it was a concern.
Yeah, and we were working very hard to address that concern. The primary reason that we have at least the 3,000 square foot building, which is just west of First Merit Bank, is because we wanted to maintain maximum flexibility for potentially locating a 10,000 or 12,000 square foot operator on either this site, and then we had even had conversations with First Merit Bank about relocating First Merit Bank over to the corner and then locating a building here on this site.
What was the thought in pre-building a building before you had a grocer that was interested, so that instead of expending the money up front to build the empty building that you left empty to try to interest a grocer, when you could have had the plot of land without the building on it? Because if you find someone who wants the space, then you've got to tear that space down or modify it, and it's more expensive. So I'm wondering, and I'm not business savvy, so maybe there was a good rule of thumb you were going by, but it seems counterintuitive.
If we could do it all over again, we wouldn't build that 3,000 square foot building. That was probably, in hindsight, a mistake. We shouldn't have done it.
I've been involved with in organizing and starting co-ops for 30 years.
Yeah.
And in all this time, I'm sorry, it's very naive. Like it says, 2 years minimum, and it can fall apart in a minute. You talked about like different, even entrepreneurs, going in and sharing, it's, and would you use it would be kind of a madhouse, all the different people that are making...
Very chaotic.
Chaotic, thank you. Co-ops start small, they can grow to a certain point, but I don't think a co-op could meet the needs of this community.
The idea of, willing citizens coming together with a good heart to create a grocery store is a great, warm and fuzzy feeling, but I think you also need to have that one expert that knows how to run the thing and keep going, because a co-op just sounds like a club. I mean, if you've ever been involved in any kind of club or organization, there's always like 5 or 6 people who do all the work,
right?
And you run into them at the next club you go to that you're on some committee for, right. And then there's like the other 120 people who think, this is great, I love this club.
And everywhere I've lived except Akron has had a co-op. And I moved here and I was like, where's the co-op? My bags and my little plastic containers, I'm all good to go. They were all weighed with their weights on them. And I was laughed at. They were like, maybe you should go to the mustard seed. That's probably more your style, right? But the mustard seed is very expensive and it's not really a co-op. So, and I understood when I lived in places with co-ops that this is a community effort, right? So if I'm signing up to be a member, if I'm not willing to put money into it, then I better be willing to put time into it and volunteer if I want to get that discount and make it worth my while. And I think there are a good portion of Highland Squareers who would appreciate that from both the environmental perspective and the community perspective, but I think there's a lot of Highland Squareers that are not down with the co-op.
I've worked at Walgreens for 2.5 years. I was in high school. That's how I got through my high school career. And the majority of the people who were there buying for groceries, which was mostly malnutrition crap. Yeah. It's all canned bullshit, excuse me, and just chips and ice cream, and majority of those clientele were people who were on food stamps because that was their area. That's where they were forced to take their kids with their strollers in the area and buy food. They didn't want to buy food there, but that was their location. So if we're working there for 2 years, that's the majority of the clientele people who are buying food there.
You know, after last meeting, I went home and I spent an hour online. Within the first 15 seconds of that hour, I came up with a list of 652 independently owned grocery stores in Ohio. Within that hour, I narrowed it down to about 60 in Northeast Ohio. And a lot of them are not people on this list that if we as a community could come together, put together a package and say, listen, the city is willing to stand behind this with a low interest loan. The developer is willing to make this fit your needs on the space. The community is willing to commit in one way or another to your store. Now, we keep talking about a co-op, but something that somebody came up to me afterwards, after the first meeting and said was, what if you had the ability to spend some money for a frequent shopper card? It's kind of like a co-op. Would you be willing to go in and spend $100 and get some percentage off? So unlike a co-op where you say the members get a certain percentage off, but everybody else pays higher, it's like saying the opposite. You're just getting a discount, and we have all of the important parties right here in the room right now. And it would be so easy just to start saying, okay, what do we need in a package to make this appealing?
I bought a house in Highland Square because I miss Portland and I want to see that here. And you can do that by bringing free movies to the movie theater, and we'll do Arrested Development one day a week to bring people to the area. You can do that by doing a First Thursdays every month by having local artisans put booths out on the street to bring outsiders. And when you bring outsiders in a grocery store, people are going to walk the city, they're going to go to the grocery store, they're going to see Highland Square for what it can be. But if businesses keep leaving and there's no grocery store, then people from Merriman, people from Fairlawn, they're going to drive right through like it's nothing. You need to bring people here. And the only way to do that is working together. And I think your idea of putting a package together, I don't think that's an idea that should be shot down. I'm not familiar with what's been going on for 4 years, but if the package that's been going on for 4 years isn't working, then let's try something new. Let's put the new package together.
My frustration is I don't see the end result of these 4 forums. I don't see, oh, well, what have we assessed? What could we address? What can't we address? And I'm not looking for something that's incredibly elaborate. But right now I see no flip chart, I see no data. The neighborhood organization is taking video, but I doubt, somebody's going to write this information down and then use it. And so what I think we're looking for is that, okay, the questions on the agenda, have we answered them? What are we answering? Try and build consensus that way, because right now what's happening is we're all talking and there's no consensus being built. We've just thrown out a bunch of ideas. It's kind of word vomit. Well, what good is that? What can we do?
What do you see as the vision for the goal here after you've collected all this information? What do you do with it?
Well, I think that Albrecht Incorporated as the developer is seeking input as to what kind of grocery store, and the bigger question, what else should happen in Highland Square? What is the vision for the future?
Yeah, that's what you're seeking, but what do you do with it once you find that out?
And that's what I'm saying. We don't have like, dun, dun, dun,